Why can Georgia qualify to the World Cup in 2026 and make their debut? We've seen this countless times in international football. When a team is hot and they got the momentum, it feels like nothing can stop them. Georgia have hit the lotto. Everything is working stupendously at the moment. You look at the players they have, you look at the manager they have, look at the fan base believing in this national team. To think where Georgia were in 2015, ranked 156th, to now beating Czechia 4-1 in the Nations League. So why make this video? Well, I'm going to break it down into small parts on why I believe Georgia have a fantastic opportunity in qualifying for the World Cup. Number one is their manager, Willy Sagnol. The job he has done bringing this national team from averageness, let's put it that way, in 2021 to now qualifying to the Euros, making it to the round of 16 of the Euros, going toe-to-toe with Portugal, Czechia, obviously that crazy game against Turkey. Yeah, you lost to Spain. But the system he has developed, every player believes in Willy Sagnol. I would too. And if any Georgian doesn't believe in Willy Sagnol, I mean, don't watch football then.
Life is never completely shit or completely great.
It's when a manager sees the players he has and knows their best traits. So when you got a guy like Kvara and Mikadalce, let them have the freedom of what they want to do. Let them express themselves. Then you bring the whiff of Lokosvili and Kakabatse. These are the sort of players that are underrated in a national team. They might not get the headlines, they might not wear the pink boots, but they are the hard workers you need in a national team. And clearly, Willy Sagnol has identified these players into his system, and it's just working perfectly. So as long as Georgia have Willy Sagnol, they can do marvelous things in international football. Number two is the players. The players are of high quality. Look at the sort of moves these players are making. Mamadashvili will be joining Liverpool next season. Could you imagine telling that to a Georgian 10 years ago? They would have said, give me the greatest strain you are smoking. Well, it's now a reality. Mamadashvili will become one of the best goalkeepers in the world. I mean, the guy is a sensational shot stopper. Yeah, he might look like Goofy with the ball at his feet. I don't care. If you can stop the ball from going to the back of the net, that's all that matters to me. Then you look at their defense. I mean, you have the experience of Kashia, who made it to the Champions League this season with Slovan Bratislava at the age of 37. I mean, Kakabatse, this guy is an engine. And same thing with Lokoshvili. These guys are just monsters. Then you have a hard-working midfield. Kitishvili, the guy will be playing Champions League football also this season. Or Kakvedatse, who's also a hard worker, a little bit more of a creator, can make those late runs into the box. These are the sort of players that will make a national team even greater. You need those unsung heroes. You need the guys who, yeah, okay, they might not want the headlines, but they will work hard for the team and allow the better players to flourish. And without these two players, then Georgia would have no hope, in my opinion. They are so crucial to this national team, and that's, of course, Kvara and Mikadalce. When you have a striker like Mikadalce, who just made the big move to Olympique Lyon, yes, it hasn't started off the greatest, but the guy has shown you week in and week out, when he plays for Metz, he is a baller. And he showed it also at the Euro, scoring crucial goal after crucial goal. He doesn't need many chances. When he gets that small chance, he will convert it. So having a striker like that, who's only 23 years old, he's only going to develop even more and more, especially at a high level like Leon. Kvara is simply a baller, and you need that sort of guy. You need a dude who can progress with the ball, can create, can score. He can do all of those things for this national team. So maybe he doesn't have to do the defensive work. He doesn't have to do crazy high pressing all the time. But when Kvara gets the ball, it's going to be magic, and he's going to strike fear into the defense. Willy Sagnol and these players are just at the beginning, really, of their process. We can always talk about and say negative things about the nations. They can say, oh, it's just a glorified friendly. But for nations like Georgia, Finland, Albania, you name it, it is so vital, this Nations League. You need to beat opponents at a similar level to you. That's the only way you're going to get better and better and better. And now Georgia, they destroyed the opponents in Division C. I mean, they're destroying opponents now in Division B. Yes, it's only one game. But thinking to yourself, Georgia beating Czechia 4-1. This is not a Czechia team that are full of bums or anything like that. No, these are still quality players like Patrik Schick. And the devastation of how Georgia just easily counterattacked them and scored some beautiful goals. I mean, we're watching Jogo Bonito from the Crusaders. But another reason why I made this video is there's so many similarities between Georgia and Iceland from 2016 to 2018. Similar to Georgia, Iceland qualified for their first major competition at the Euros in 2016. They sensationally beat a pathetic England, and obviously Roy Hodgson and Gary Neville were the greatest duo since peanut butter and jelly. And they made it to the quarterfinal, eventually losing to France. And what did Iceland do afterwards? They carried the momentum into the World Cup qualifiers, won every single home game, and only won 2 away games, but that was enough for Iceland to qualify to their first ever World Cup. So in a 3-year span, that team got even better, and they were a nucleus. They were a strong national team, especially at home. Or another example could be Wales, where they had a very organized team. They didn't have the flashy stars, but they had that one star in Gareth Bale who could be a difference maker, and everybody else had to just work hard. You know, from the likes of Joe Allen, Aaron Ramsey, Ben Davis, these sort of guys. All you just need is 1 or 2 superstars and a hard-working national team, but it has to fit into a unit, and that's what Georgia have developed. You know, Iceland had a couple of decent players, you know, like this guy or Bjarnason, and they had a couple players playing in the Premier League, but Iceland weren't full of stars or big names, no, but they worked as a unit, and that's why they kept getting better and better and qualified to the World Cup. If Georgia want to qualify to the World Cup, they have to become a dominant team at home. Bring the fortress, and I think Georgia are starting to develop that, unless it's against Spain, because against Spain, 7-1. I always love these stories in international football, a team that really had nothing going for them, similar to Iceland, similar to Finland. They used the Nations League to their benefit, Georgia, and they've gotten better and better and better, and with a manager like Willy Sagnol. You let me know in the comments down below right now, who are you taking as a manager? Willy Sagnol or Didier Deschamps? I imagine if you're Georgia right now and you're supporting this national team, it must be so fun, and you cannot wait until the next game, and then the next international break, and then the next international break after that. But then you get to enjoy your players playing all over Europe. This is the golden time for Georgian football, and it might only be the beginning. So can they qualify to the World Cup in 2026? Well, that's a little bit too early, and it may be a bit too reactionary on my part, but I'm really liking what I'm seeing from this national team, and I want to see new debutants at the World Cup. That's why it's so important that Georgia do well in the Nations League, because the Nations League will dictate the World Cup qualifying pots. So if Georgia can get into a pot 2 slot, that would be pretty good, and then they can hope for maybe like a Belgium, maybe some sort of national team like that. For Georgia, this is their moment right now. They have to strike while the iron is hot. Will they continue doing it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Are you also on the hype train like me in believing that Georgia could qualify to their first ever World Cup in 2026? Or do you believe I'm too reactionary? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Remember to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here for more international football content from AFC to CAF to CONMEBOL to CONCACAF and UEFA, maybe UFC sometimes. Remember to follow me on all socials. Remember to join the Discord. Link to that is in the description down below. But have a beautiful day, stay safe in this crazy world, and maybe Georgia is just beginning. Adios.